my life experience because I was born here. But I'm a member of the 251 Club, which expects everybody to visit all 251, now 252 incorporated towns and villages in Vermont.
Wow. And so how far have you gotten so far?
Oh, pretty much all over, except that it hasn't been in any organized fashion.
I see.
So we have a journal. The club has a journal, and it has a little space to document all the places you've been. My idea, now that we're retired, is to start over and have a theme.
Oh, yeah.
There are all kinds of themes. People do it by bike. People do it by canoe in every town or whatever. People do it by creamy stands.
Oh,
you know.
I feel like I've maybe done that accidentally, just not even realizing it.
For sure.
That's awesome. So you're retired now, so you might just start over. What I'm wondering is, like, I feel like if I were going to do that, I'd want to have a route in my mind, so I wasn't like going like this across the state.
Yeah, you can do it that way, and you can do it in any timeline that you establish.
Yeah,
it can take a summer. That one young man did it with a couple of his friends when he was in college, and he and his friends did it in a summer.
Yeah, so they had.
That's pretty intense.
That's a lot.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
But they mapped out areas of the state, and they just went around to those places and did it between their sophomore and junior years of college or something.
Oh, that's great.
12 years later, he went back and did the same route.
Really?
And then made a movie about it called One Town at a Time.
Really? Oh, that's so cool. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
What a neat idea.
Yeah, it is.
I'm wondering, I love the idea of canoeing, although I'm also wondering, like, would that work? Although you'd have to portage. You'd have to, like, maybe go
absolutely.
on a stretch and, like, we can't, we have to switch from the Lewis Creek to the New Haven here or something like that.
Well, I'm sure they just drove their canoe and put it
Popped
in
it
some
in.
kind of body of water.
That's cool.
In one town. People have done it with antique cars.
Oh, yeah.
They do it with or without their pets.
Yep. Oh, that's really cool.
It's really
Creamy
interesting.
stands sounds like a good idea. Creamy stands or like delicious food,
Oh, yeah.
I bet there's a lot
Restaurants.
of great restaurants
A
you
restaurant
could find along
in every
the way.
town or every city.
Yeah. Or like general stores. I feel like not every town has one of those.
And
but
some people did like post offices. Originally, when it started about 75 years ago, people would say that they had to visit the town hall and sort of get a stamp or a signature saying they'd done it. There are no rules, really.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that for your own edification,
Sure.
you can do it.
That's
you
fun.
can do whatever you want. And so it's not an imposing type of membership.
That's nice. Yeah.
And,
it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to stress out about it either. You can just enjoy.
For sure.
Oh, I love that idea. How are we working? Is it good? Awesome.
Excellent.
It's working.
Okay.
You're the
You're
best.
welcome.
This is the perfect. This is perfect.
Okay. Hi, my name is Carolyn Gould. I'm president of the Chittenden County Historical Society, and we are an all-volunteer, all-inclusive organization representing all of the historical societies in the county of Chittenden. We are a content-driven organization. That means we don't have a museum, but we do have publications, we give presentations, we have all kinds of activities that go on, including this one, which is Spotlight Vermont 250. And it grew out of our 60th anniversary last year, which we held at Ethan Allen Homestead Museum, and they are also a co-sponsor, as is the city of Burlington. And we're thrilled to have so many cultural and historical organizations here, because it is by supporting history and by supporting culture that we keep liberty and democracy alive, both the past to make the future. And I'm joined with...
Hi, my name's Aaron Merrill. I'm the president of the Williston Historical Society. We are also a volunteer organization. We are situated in the Dorothy Alling Memorial Library. We have a Vermont room that we care for. We have a small collection of Williston objects and items there. We also have a lot of historical documents, and we also provide grants to folks who are interested in doing research on our community's history. Currently, we do have a book in progress that we're really excited about, and will be announced at some point in the future. So.
We also have a book in progress that's going to be published. In addition to publishing a quarterly journal, we publish books. And this book is by Vince Feeney, who did the history of the Queen City. This is a history of the first progressive mayor that Burlington had, which is Jim Burke, who was a blacksmith and an Irishman. And he is the one single individual you can point to who built the modern Vermont. And it's an exciting story, and it's completely overlooked history. So that'll show up next year in time for our 250th. Wow. So do you have a question to ask?
Sure. What would you fight to preserve about America?
What I would fight to preserve about America is the ability to fight tyranny and resist and build. I think we're better at any other country in doing that. And the more we create liberty for more people, the stronger we are. And the only way we do that is knowing everything about history, not some ideological bent to it. And what would you preserve?
I would, very similar. I agree with everything you said. I also am really interested in our material objects. I feel like we can learn a lot from the objects that we have from the past and sharing those and discovering the stories of everyday Americans and the native people who also lived here. I think those stories need to be told, and those are my favorite stories when people do that great little local history research and they find some great nugget to share with our community. I think that just draws people in and makes them want to learn more.
And that's sort of why we're doing Spotlight Vermont 250. This brings history alive. This brings history to kids and to the child in all of us who is so thrilled at discovering who lived in that house or what happened there, or did kids actually walk on planks of wood? I mean, all those crazy kinds of things. And we have singers here and everything. What in Vermont most inspires you?
I love our beautiful landscape and our lake, and there's just so much great history that happens here. I mean, being in Williston, people know Williston maybe most for Thomas Chittenden being the first governor of Vermont. And when you start to dive into that history of those early Vermonters coming up into the grants and starting a new life and starting the Republic of Vermont and writing our own Constitution in 1777, which we'll be celebrating next year. Those things are really inspiring to me, and it's a great launching point for Vermont history.
So a lot of us aren't seventh generation people. A lot of us came from all over the United States. I was born and raised in Oregon, and Oregon is a lot like Vermont. Stubborn, independent, hardworking, agricultural, and a bit crazed. And so I've always, the minute I stepped into Vermont, I knew it was my second home. And how I ended up becoming president of the Chittenden County Historical Society is a fluke, I think, but I've loved every minute of it. And what's so wonderful here is we're not just celebrating the past. The groups here come to the present day because history is happening as we speak.
Hi, my name is Holly. So I'm actually up here visiting in Burlington right now, though I lived here for 3 years before I moved to Taipei, Taiwan for graduate school.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just home for the summer, but it's great to be back. I love this community, and I hope to come back after I graduate.
How does it feel to be back after being in such a completely different place?
It's really funny because a lot of the topics and conversations that we have in Burlington are also ones that are happening on the other side of the world in some regards. Like with housing and community engagement and outdoor markets and fairs. There's a lot more in common than there is that I think people would anticipate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what are you studying?
I'm studying global health.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. And you'll go back?
Yeah. So I'll be going back next month for my last year.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
great. Do you think you'll stay over there when you're done, or will
I
you
mean,
come
if
back?
I were to find a job over there, I would love to stay. That being said, I'll just kind of follow wherever the wind takes me.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. I love. That's such a beautiful place to be in your life.
Yeah, it really is. I feel very, very lucky to have lived in so many different places at a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if there's a question that moves you, I'd love to hear what you have to say, or I can ask you. We can volley. There's some good ones. Yeah, they're good ones. I've got one for you to start. How about that?
Yeah. Go
Okay,
for
so
it.
what is important for people of the future to remember?
Oh, wow. I think it's really important for the for the people of the future to remember that a lot of people care deeply, and a lot of work happens behind the scenes that people are just not privy to, just due to like the nature of the work or just like the way that their work functions.
So kind of a lot goes into making a community what it is.
And I
There's a lot
say
of
that
people.
because I worked for the Vermont Department of Health for 3 years, and we do a lot of really fantastic work that's incredibly impactful that just not a lot of people know about or are aware of because there's no problem, so it doesn't draw their attention to it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so fantastic. Yeah, that's very common for the things that are working not to be noticed or commented on because they're working and things seem smooth. But then when there are issues, we hear all about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is appropriate, but there are some times where you feel like you need a little bit of the acknowledgement of all the things that go on behind the scenes. And I'm imagining that's really appreciated when it comes to the topic of health care and health of a community. Yeah. That's great. Huh. And what do you imagine, like 250 years from now, here in Vermont, could you conjure a picture in your mind of what that might be like, or what we would hope for even?
I mean, I hope for the community to continue prospering in the areas that which it really thrives, like in community engagement, civic engagement, and just having like these little pockets like this every Saturday in the summer, spring, fall. And I hope in other ways, like we can improve like our infrastructure and like housing and the roads, looking at you, Dorset, and like just making it a more accessible community. I think a lot of people could take notes from Burlington, particularly with the bike path. That's my favorite thing to brag about anywhere, because I think it benefits so many people in the community, like 365. And yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah. I think about kids, like, and how a lot of kids leave and don't necessarily come back. And I would love to see, really evident reasons for kids maybe to go abroad, figure out their lives, learn things, and then say, I'm going to go back to Vermont and bring this home. And there will be an infrastructure there that can support me. There will be housing that I could live in. There'll be education for my future kids. Like, just feel like it's a place that would be stable and resilient for them. Because I worry now about youth flight and the communities getting older and older and older, and not having the younger generations to come up and fill those really important roles, like the development review board in a random town. Like you need people to be like, I want to take this on, and it's not as feasible. I think it doesn't seem as feasible for young folks these days to be able to do that and be able to afford to live here. So I hope that changes. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And so what do you think about on the other side of the world? Like those vision, you were saying there were some commonalities between where you've been and home. What would you imagine for them in that side of the world in 250 years?
On that side of the Oh man, let me pull out like my geopolitical hat, because there's a lot. But I mean, they do their public health infrastructure is phenomenal. Their healthcare is phenomenal. I have benefited from it immensely. And I think we could take a lot of notes on public transit.
For sure.
Yeah, their public transit's phenomenal. But at least on that side of the world, like I wish for people to be prosperous and to have like their civil liberties be protected, and just kind of have a fair political stance, which Taiwan is pretty stable across the board. And to keep working hand in hand with like their indigenous communities and giving them the respect and dignity they deserve.
Absolutely.
Which is an ongoing conversation, as well as cultural preservation, because a lot of a monoculture is taking over to an extent.
Really?
And like the speaking of like the local language, so Taiwanese, and so like Tai has not been, or to have that be more preserved for like the generations to come.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. That's. I feel like you could apply that in so many places. Like, just that loss of local languages is kind of similar to the loss of like local identity, local media, local. There's a lot of that local stuff that is in fact the stitching of things together that happens at this grassroots level, and that includes language, that includes infrastructure, it includes schools, and and just what knits a community together. And I can imagine that it would be really difficult for people if they're losing their native language and being asked to assimilate into something that's just more of a big bucket. I mean, this has been going on forever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Thanks for sitting with us.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
Love meeting you.
Love meeting you as well. I hope you have a great rest of your day. The weather's
You too.
gorgeous.
Enjoy.
Rich
Rick,
Pearl.
hi, Bob Duncan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
How
you.
doing?
You're from Burlington?
I am.
So am I.
Lived in Burlington since 1974.
73 for me.
73, yeah?
Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Southern Vermont.
Did you?
Yeah.
I grew up in Barrie.
Oh, my
and,
God.
Went to Penn State, came here for a summer job.
Spalding?
Spalding, yep.
What year?
69.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have been 73 if I had stayed in Barrie.
Oh, so you
I was only there 1 year.
Oh,
at
is that right?
Spalding. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
But- So, you want to ask a
Small
question
world?
to me?
Sure,
I'll ask
sure.
one of you first.
Okay, go ahead.
What is important for people of the future to remember?
What is important for people in the future to remember? We want to, I think people in the future want to remember that we had a democracy that lasted 500 years.
Got it.
So at least another 250.
I would like people to remember what it was like during these times with a fascist in control.
Well, there you go.
You know what I mean? Same
I
thing.
know exactly what you mean, and we're in complete agreement on that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what would you fight to preserve about America?
The right to vote for everyone and with no restraints.
And how do you see your way fighting for that?
To make sure that voting isn't restricted in any ways. I don't really know how to do that. In Vermont, we don't have the kinds of problems other
Right.
places in the country do. Everybody's allowed to vote, and I think Vermont does a great job of protecting that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's complicated because it's true that here in Vermont we don't seem to have that problem, whereas in other states it is. And I wonder about, given what's happening in terms of who may be elected in 2026, how can I, as an individual, support that action for proper voting in other states? Does that mean getting on one of these postcard campaigns?
Exactly.
Or
My
literally going
friend
there,
does that.
renting an Airbnb and going knocking on doors, or what's the answer? I don't really know the answer, but
Those are both good suggestions.
Yeah.
A friend of mine does the postcard routine,
uh-huh.
and he mails them out all
Yeah,
over the country.
I've done that before, and
Have you?
wondered if it made a difference, but I don't know.
How could it not-
There's no way you can find out.
It wasn't not going to make a difference.
Oh, there you go.
You know what I mean?
That's a good way to look at it.
All right, you ready?
You sure?
How do you celebrate milestones of life?
Milestones of life are usually celebrated by a family get-together. So whether that's a wedding anniversary or a high school graduation or a college graduation, it's usually trying to bring family together.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's see. I think we have some of the same questions.
Yeah, but I'm sure.
How is your life shaped today by 250 years of history?
Well, freedom. Number one, we're able to do as we please, get into whatever kind of trouble we get into or not, or make a difference
Hopefully
in the world.
good trouble.
Yeah.
Hopefully good trouble.
Well, yeah, or bad trouble sometimes. I'm going through a tough time right
Oh,
now. So.
sorry.
But
Yeah.
besides that, the freedom to make mistakes.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah. And the freedom to make mistakes, the freedom to try anything that you hope to try.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Describe your school. Oh, sorry, that's probably for a student, right? Let's see. Okay, we can wrap up. I think this was a pleasure meeting you.
Same here.
And
Same here.
we're about the same age.
About the same age.
I'm 70, almost 71.
Yeah, and I'm 74. Yeah,
Right,
so I'm
'cause
similar
you
age,
graduated in
yeah.
69.
So were you born in Barrie? Or
No. I was born in Marblehead, Mass.
Okay.
My dad's from Burlington.
Uh-huh.
My mom and my dad met at UVM.
Uh-huh.
And then he moved down to. My brothers were born in Vermont when my dad was a principal over in Danville and stuff like that. And,
Near Joe's Pond.
For Jen's, yes.
Yeah.
Joe's Pond's beautiful.
Yeah, spent a lot of time there.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Do you have a camp?
No, but friends did.
Yeah. My son goes over there all the time to his friend's camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Great.
It's
Nice to
summertime.
meet you.
Bob,
Great.
it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Rick. Same here.
Ben voyons donc.
Donc, je vais commencer.
T'en as-tu une?
Oui. Décris ton moment préféré pour passer du temps avec ta famille.
Aller au parc,
Aller au parc,
jouer ensemble.
faire un road trip,
Ouais.
deuxième date.
Ok, c'est la famille, nous deux, là.
Ouais, là, ça peut être tout le monde.
Tout le monde?
Ouais.
Ok, ouais.
OK. Parfait.
Toi?
Moi aussi, je crois. Tasse tes cheveux. Moi aussi, excuse-moi. Moi aussi, je pense que c'est ça. Aller au parc, aller dans un judo quand il fait chaud, puis aller faire des glissades quand il fait froid l'hiver. Glisser. OK, trouve une question.
Ok. Oh mon Dieu. Décris ton école, puis qu'est-ce que tu as aimé apprendre?
À l'école, qu'est-ce que j'ai aimé apprendre? Surtout l'histoire. J'ai aimé les fun facts. Je suis un gars qui apprécie les fun facts, mais c'est ça, l'histoire. L'histoire en général.
Ok.
Ouais. Est-ce
Ouais, vas-y.
Attends. Qu'est-ce que les gens du futur voudraient savoir sur toi? Bonne question.
Difficile à comprendre,
OK.
difficile à saisir.
OK.
Vaut la peine d'essayer de comprendre.
Je pense que oui.
Voilà.
C'est bien. C'est bien, parfait. And how many more questions do we... A couple more? Parfait, we can do a couple more.
Mon Dieu, OK.
Euh...
On peut en inventer aussi.
Ouais, parfait. Est-ce que, selon toi, l'histoire du Québec est assez bien remplie?
Tu me parles vraiment d'histoire,
Ok,
là.
parfait. Est-ce que, selon toi...
Ben sûrement, là.
Do you speak French?
Oui.
C'est vrai?
C'est pas la deuxième langue.
Where are you from?
I'm from Boston.
Nice. Attends, est-ce que, selon toi, le passeport canadien devrait être accepté partout au monde?
Je sais pas.
Est-ce que au Canada, on devrait accepter toutes les autres nations?
Oui et non. Ça dépend pourquoi.
Développe.
Ben non, là, c'est bien trop deep ton affaire. On peut pas parler de ça.
Ah, c'est des questions plates, hein?
Ben,
Ok.
c'est tabou, là.
Ah, quand même.
Pas te mentir.
Quand même tabou, on va skipper ça parce que c'est public quand même.
On va couper le bout.
Ok, parfait. Can we cut? What is your favorite dish? That's good?
Quoi?
C'est quoi ton repas préféré?
Les sushis.
Sushi, hein? OK.
Ouais. Toi?
I like poutine. You know what? Yeah, Canadian dish.
Pour vrai? Genre, c'est ça, là.
Non, c'est plus facile à dire.
OK. T'as juste pas eu besoin de penser, là.
Non.
OK.
Do you want to go to another kiosk?
S'il vous plaît. J'aimerais aller manger aussi.
You wanna eat?
Yes.
Let's go eat.
OK. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Merci.
So, hi there. My name's Jill, and I work with CCTV. Tell me about you.
Yes, my name's Lucy McCullough, and I'm the daughter of Grace and Harold Pugh. My father was...
Can you sit up closer to the
Sure.
mic and then
Ah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. My name is Lucy McCullough, and I am Grace and Harold Pugh's daughter. My father was manager of the Burlington Airport from 1932 to 1945, and he and my mother married in 1934, and the two of them helped grow and develop the Burlington Airport and get it started. It was pretty much a grass field with a very little amenities, and her stepfather was Arthur Ashley, who managed the airport. Get the whole family involved in aviation.
Oh my goodness.
And so my mother wrote this story about the Burlington Airport the first 25 years, about 50 years ago. And my sister and I and family helped publish the book just recently. So it's newly out, yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
And so how old were you when your parents were doing this?
We didn't come along until after they were done being at the airport.
Okay.
They finished in 45, and that's the year I was born.
Wow.
And my sister was about 2 years old at that time. So they just moved on and did other things at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's so fantastic. So they just started with a big stretch of grass and turned it into a landing strip and brought a couple planes in? I'm so curious that even...
they just managed it. Other people flew their planes in.
Okay.
Then my uncle, who is also working at the airport as a mechanic, would work on the airplanes. Eventually they built a hangar, and they built an administration building. They built all the blocks for the administration building on site.
Oh, did they?
And that opened, I think, in 1934 or 35.
Okay. Huh.
And then after that, they kept expanding the runways, adding more runways, removing trees.
Wow.
They got in a communication system. They got in the lighting system was very. They didn't have lighting, so you couldn't land at night.
You couldn't land at night,
unless
right?
somebody went out with a pickup truck, which was my father's job,
With a big spot
with
on it
your
or
headlights.
something?
Yeah.
Oh wow, the headlights.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
it was very primitive in those years.
Right.
But, they kept, as more demands kept coming, they kept adjusting. And then the war came, and they trained thousands of pilots for the wartime.
Right,
And so,
of course.
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And so did they have something to do with the Green Mountain Boys and
No,
the development of that? That came later?
Much later. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you, is the current airport in the same exact location, essentially?
Well, it started out down in the very south side of the run. What do you think of today of the airport?
Okay.
It was a very small operation at that point, and of course, it's continued to expand north into what it is today. So
that's fantastic.
It would be amazing to think about what it was like back then, and then what it is today. The changes have been
it's so immense.
Yeah,
yeah it's almost hard to comprehend. And I love that idea of just your folks saying, let's do this, and and let's make it an opportunity for people here, and to bring people into Vermont in a way that they hadn't ever been coming to Vermont.
Right.
That's so fascinating.
Of course, it was owned always by the city of Burlington.
Right.
It started out, I think they were renting the land, and then they purchased it in 1931 or so.
Yeah.
And so the city of Burlington helped support it all those years as well.
That's so great. Do you mind if I ask you one of these questions? So one that came to mind is your family has done a lot of really cool things locally. So I was just going to ask you what you feel we need to remember from our history as we move forward into the next millennia.
Well, we have endured a lot over the years, and we always rebound. We always come back stronger, and hopefully we continue to learn from our history and not make the same mistakes twice, which is a difficult thing. Everyone seems to want to reinvent the wheel.
It's true. Yeah. And I do think history, it's good to see it still being taught in schools. I hope that it continues to be part of the curriculum, just given how incredible, what a good foundation it gives us as we consider what we're doing now and what comes next. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
It was really nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily. My name's Miro. M-I-R-O.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Are you?
Grab some
Great. Are you a Burlingtonian?
I live in Winooski, so close.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I haven't really looked at these, but here's a good one. What can America celebrate from the past 250 years?
I think it can celebrate innovating and always sort of pushing forward to the next thing, whether that's in transportation or civil rights or technology, right? A lot of innovation happening here.
No, well said. Well observed.
Yeah. What do you think we need to remember from our history?
Oh, I think it's important to remember the good, as you've been alluding to, and there's a lot of that, as well as the terrible injustices and tragedies, and to try to hold both, not get. Certainly, we shouldn't forget the 400 years of racial injustice. We shouldn't forget the really almost unthinkably tragic nature of the initial arrival of Western colonists. And yet, I think it's also important that we celebrate what America has meant for the progress of humanity over time, the attempts to be more perfect over time, and continue to embrace that and try to do what we can in our time to make the country even greater.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best ways to celebrate it is to just keep trying to make it better.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you want people of the future to know about today?
I think I want them to know that we were sort of on the cusp of this big change with the introduction of, or the widespread use of AI and social media, right? I'm 37, so when I was growing up, I didn't have a cell phone, but suddenly now I can't even remember what it's like not to have one, what it's like not to be surrounded by social media, and now AI is kind of just seeping into everything. So I hope when people look back, they give us a little bit of grace in knowing that it was all new to us and we weren't entirely sure what we were doing yet. So
it's really wild.
Yeah.
I'm 56, so I've lived through those, and there really wasn't an internet until after I got out of college. So it has been a an exciting period. Now I'm driving a car that drives itself most of the time.
Right.
It's really something else.
Yeah. So I hope we just get a little bit of grace.
Yeah. Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do one more? How many should we do? All right.
How do you celebrate milestones in life?
Well, gosh, it's a little tough to generalize, right? It kind of depends on the milestone, but what's that? Yeah, I'm struggling with that. I don't know. Do you have a good answer for that?
I just think with friends and family, just being around people and dogs.
I'll tell you, this is very Burlington. Here's an answer. Most of our major milestones, we would go to Penny Clues for a meal afterwards.
There you go.
So, and now we go to Deep City since Charles Reeves has moved down there.
Nice.
So,
yep.
When we adopted, part of the adoption process for our second daughter was to go to the courthouse and have the probate judge actually, formally. It's quite a remarkable thing. Our daughter went from being sort of a charge of the state to being a child of, we took formal custody of her. So it's really this sort of monumental administrative action. And then we went to Penny Clues with our suits on and
Perfect.
Good clothes and my parents. And it was, it's a memorable one.
Good people, good food. It's the best way to celebrate.
Exactly. So, well, that was fun. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Hey, I'm Luke. Hey, nice to meet you.
You're gonna post right up to those mics. Who's never seen the podcast, you're gonna like
All right.
Mr. Klein.
What's up?
You can like go.
Okay.
Look around for stuff. Okay.
Like that.
All right. Is that working?
Is it? Is the audio coming through?
All right.
All right. Cool. Yeah,
All right.
sounds good. All right, what's up, Eamon?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's pretty good. Just walk around, beautiful day. You know,
sure
what's
is.
not to love? Yeah.
All right. What's yeah? I mean, just any of these prompts?
Are you asking me or am I asking you?
I don't know. What's you know, kind of what's your you know, how are you taking the 250th? What's anything you're doing to
cool.
kind of commemorate?
Yeah. So, I think, you know, it's really interesting because like my whole life. So my grandfather was a World War II veteran, right?
Yeah.
So he lived to be almost 102 years old. Really awesome, amazing guy. But I've kind of always grown up with this feeling that World War II is like the last great war that we ever participated in. And so on the 250th, given the current political climate, it's been a very like odd place to be a citizen, as I'm sure everyone, no matter what spectrum you're on. I think it's a very weird
absolutely.
year to have a 250th in particular. So I honestly like wasn't thinking about it really that much at all. And then I remember on July 4th, I was by Lake Placid with my family. And I was thinking about how I'm noticing like I always felt like my grandfather was a patriot, and I didn't really understand like the value in feeling that way about a country. But now with like the emergence of the current political climate, it seems more like there's this idea that patriotism is the same thing as like being a nationalist in a way.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm starting to feel like those things are like actually much more separate than I thought they were before. And like stuff like this is going on here feels like kind of patriotic, but not nationalistic.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally.
So I guess that's what's been going on in my mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
I haven't
funny you
thought like
mention
too
that.
much about it, so I don't know. What about you? What's going on in your head?
I mean, I think it's interesting you bring that up, kind of the sense between like patriotism and nationalism. My great uncle is also a World War II veteran.
Okay.
So I kind of, you know, I've thought about a few of the same
Yeah,
issues
totally.
there, and I think it is interesting, like living in a time where kind of like senses of nationalism and patriotism don't necessarily go hand in hand the way they might have, you know, 80 years ago.
Right. Right.
And especially living in a place like Vermont, you know,
Right.
a very liberal state. I think sometimes you either feel like you have to be, you know, you feel like you're either an American or a Vermonter, or you're not entirely sure where you fit in.
Are you
given the
from
current
Vermont?
political climate. Yeah, I am from Vermont.
Okay,
yeah.
interesting. I've only lived here for a year, so.
Okay, where are you from initially?
Yeah, just Connecticut. Nothing too
Okay, yeah,
crazy.
still New
you know,
England. I
yeah.
feel like it's not wholly different. Like
No, there's a very real like Connecticut, Massachusetts to Vermont pipeline for sure.
There is. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, interesting.
But-
Okay, so you've been in Vermont for your whole life.
Yeah.
And could you say more, about how you're feeling about those differences between, or like how you're feeling, how does patriotism, if it does show up in Vermont, how do you see it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, it is interesting being a Vermonter. I think that in general, at least my experience has been that a lot of Vermonters kind of identify more with like state values and kind of like a state cultural identity over like a national identity.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that, you know, I think politics, especially at, you know, the national level, can be a little out of sway and out of touch
Sure.
with most Vermonters and how they align. And so, you know, first and foremost, I kind of, you know, I don't really give much thought to being like an American overall, I would say. It hasn't really been until, you know, the 250th that you kind of do some more reflecting on what it means to
Sure.
be an
It's a
American
nice number,
overall.
you know
It's
what
a
I
nice
mean? It
number.
makes you
yeah,
think
it's a
about
nice number.
things.
And, you know, you're like, oh man, I'm a history major at UVM, right? So
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
it's been really like, kind of interesting. I do a lot of like European history for the most part, not much American history. But all of a sudden you're like, oh, 250 years, like that's not a whole lot, you know. And I
Yeah,
think you can forget
right.
that this country hasn't been around for, you know, nearly as long
No,
as
blink of an eye.
You know, blink of an eye compared to a lot of these other, you know, nations and civilizations. And, you know, we're still trying to figure stuff out. We're still trying to kind of navigate this whole system that we've built up here, and the principles and the kind of like ideologies that our country was founded upon in the first place. You know, we've seen them kind of, you know, play out differently for different social classes,
Sure.
you know, throughout our history. And, you know, turning around after 250 years and looking at kind of both the progress that we've made and the lengths that we still need to go, I think has really
Right.
been where I've been at, kind of just sitting with this one for, you know,
Sure.
July 4th weekend and kind
Yeah,
of just,
right.
yeah.
Do you feel like, so as like a European history major, you know, obviously America or the United States really like broke off from Britain, and to a larger extent like Britain's connection to Europe, right? And kind of like had a lot of aid from the French in doing so. And so we had like really strong ties in a way to Europe initially, but it feels like America was ostensibly trying to do some pretty unique democratic project, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm wondering, like, now that it's been 250 years, given your understanding of European history, do you feel like it's largely been, I don't know if successful is the right word, but do you feel like the original ostensible on paper vision was achieved, or do you feel like we've kind of like rerouted somewhere completely different?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, because if you kind of look at some, the kind of radical ideas that our country was founded upon, there is certainly something exceptional about that. And there has always, in my opinion, been a certain, everyone likes to throw around like American exceptionalism, like yada yada. But in fact, like there is truly, historically speaking, something exceptional about the foundation of our country. I think the conversation really gets interesting when you look at the way that progressed then versus compared to some European nations, and kind of now where we're at versus, where we were at back then. We're not the only country anymore that can tote around like, liberal freedoms and democracy and, no monarchy, and like some of the principles that our country was founded upon have, in my opinion, gotten a bit more muddled in, the past century or so. And as other countries kind of progress in their own ways, and kind of the tides of, the tides always shift, across the board really. And so while we might have started kind of a chain reaction of events 250 years ago, I think it's important to kind of look at where we're at now to see, have we really come as far as we think we've come, and how do we compare to some other nations that maybe are doing things that we could pick up on?
Right, the landscape's definitely changed.
The landscape's definitely changed.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And definitely I think we had some hand in that, certainly, in the way
definitely.
that things have like proliferated now in this sort of global ecosystem. But actually, something you said really kind of like sparked my interest. You talked about like the American exceptionalism, which is it's such an interesting phenomenon. It's very weird. It's very bizarre, right? But it's also a real thing for sure. I guess I'm wondering, like, how do you see what is American exceptionalism? Like, what's sort of the historical context or like history of that idea? And then also, like, how does that relate to Vermont? Because I feel like Vermont is also a very strange state within the context of America.
That's a good question.
And like, how do Vermonters think of the American exceptionalism?
Oh man, yeah, tricky. American exceptionalism as a whole, and I guess kind of the idea that everyone can come here and make a life, and kind of I associate it kind of into like the American dream, right? Like the idea that anyone can come to America and make a life for themselves, no matter what their social standing might be or their class. And that's, in my opinion, at least on paper, what made America exceptional for so long. Is that people kind of understood it to be a place where you could go and kind of break free from some of the like traditions and kind of limiting factors that might have been put upon you in the old world. And I think while that might have been true, like my grandparents, for example, my grandparents were both Italian immigrants. Their parents came over, settled in New York City, and they made a great life for themselves. They provided well for both their children and their grandchildren. I'm here right now, like living a great life in Vermont. And realistically, that's not quite the same America that I think we see today. And so if you want to talk about like what it means to be exceptional today, I think, it's not so much a broad blanket statement, just going to come over and make like a great life as it used to be. I think that immigration's still clearly a big issue. I think there are certain things that, need to be done to tackle kind of some of those things, but really, I think it started, the idea of what it means to be an exceptional American has really shifted a lot in the past, 50 years or so, I think. And the American dream, by, kind of that logic, has shifted a lot too.
Right.
And I think people value different things these days, and they view themselves differently than, we did in the past in terms of what it means to actually be an American. In terms of how that manifests in Vermont, that's a tricky one. I think Vermonters can often, I think we do live in a bit of a bubble up here. And it's,
just
that
small,
kind of,
just
small
really,
little,
just small,
so especially up in Burlington, it's just a tiny, minuscule little bubble.
So
But I think it is important to remember that not everybody thinks the same way you do. Not everybody believes the same things you do.
Totally.
That, what it might mean to be an American for you is not what it means to be an American for somebody else a state away. And kind of keeping that all in mind, considering the fact that we have 50 states and a giant country, I think it's important to kind of, just keep an open mind, be tolerant, especially these days. really kind of the principles that America was founded on in the first place. Just it's taken some time for us to actually implement them in practice. So,
sure, yeah.
You know,
it's interesting. This exceptionalism idea is still like ringing in my head. It seems like you're linking, if I'm understanding you right, tell me if I'm wrong here.
Yeah.
But like linking the exceptionalism to the ability to have social mobility, essentially, right? Be able to kind of like break out of your class, more or less, and like move throughout different economic strata, right? And then that is also sort of packaged, I guess, as like an American dream.
Yeah.
In a way, right? And it's funny because the dream is like both for citizens already and for people who wanted to like immigrate here, ostensibly, as well, right? And I feel like that has played out in so many ways, like your grandparents, to some degree, my parents, definitely my great-grandparents when they came over, for sure, you know? So it is interesting to see how it's like, on the one hand, things almost seemed like it was like harder to move through economic different levels of economic ability, essentially, back then for your own life. But for your child or your grandchildren's life, right? They could go to a better school, they could get a better job, like all of these things. And I think we still see this play out a little bit today. And it seems like some people have some more social mobility today within their own lifetime, which feels a little bit different than before. But I do feel, along with you, that like it's almost like we're all in molasses right now. It's like everything's sort of like slowed down to a crawl, and it's like really hard to like move out. I don't know. Are you feeling that?
Yeah,
like, do you feel like the dream is still?
What you're saying.
Is the dream still alive? Will I have a house someday?
I think the dream is definitely still alive. I think it would be naive to say that the dream has totally disappeared and that everyone's lost.
So there's hope. You're telling me there's hope on America's 250th birthday. You're telling me there's hope.
I'm telling you there's hope on the 250th. I'm telling you there's hope. I think that it can often be difficult to actually diagnose what the problem is, and that by kind of looking into the past, seeing how things played out in the past, and moving from there, it just gives you that much better of an understanding for how to go forward in the present. And for those reasons, it's tricky. It's really while there is hope, it can often be hard for people, I think, to kind of diagnose what the problem is in the first place, because this is while you might be having the same problem that your grandparents' generation had, you probably are having it for different reasons these days, and understanding like what those reasons are and kind of how they impact your life.
Sure.
I think the only way to do that is just about, looking to the past, see, kind of read the patterns, but
it's tough, right? Because it's so interwoven with like the global activity right now too. So it's
exactly.
like, I think one of the things I find most difficult in terms of like navigating the world right now is it's very hard to make sense out of where the limits of what is in your influence are and what is beyond your influence. Right, it's kind of like that sort of like stoic mindset, where like focus on the things that you can control and like let go of the rest.
Especially with social media, and
sure, exactly. And it's like I can have
information.
influence on like certain things in my own life, but then there are these just like massive, like market, political, I think spiritual forces that are like just affecting us on all different angles that you don't even always see necessarily, because we're always within so many various institutions and now global institutions. And it's like, how do you as one person make sense of these things and like navigate your own life and find some sense of joy and meaning? It's always possible, and it's always going to be possible because we're meaning-making machines. That's like what we do. And I don't want to say machines, meaning-making organisms. We are really quite alive with it. And I feel like the machines actually don't know what's up with meaning-making at all, to be honest.
No AI.
No AI. I'm curious to see if it could make,
we'll see.
if it could have an internal sense of meaning, but I don't know if you could ever...
Too soon to say. I don't understand any,
Yeah, it's certainly beyond my scope.
I'm a little freaked out by it all, I think. Yeah, as most of us are.
But I appreciate what you're saying, that like the dream's still alive, hope's still there. You just kind of got to like focus on.
Totally,
and this is the thing, I'm only in Vermont for a little over a year now. But one of the things I really love about it is that people say they care about community all the time, like all over the place, right? We're very pro-social beings when it comes down to it. But I feel like the sense I get is that Vermonters like actually show up. They actually like go to the rally. They like give their neighbor some food. They like do the thing that people talk about. It's not just thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. I think a lot, we're a tight-knit state. There's not a whole lot of us here, relatively speaking. And I think you're absolutely right that, even up in Burlington, our biggest, kind of city, like.
Oh yeah, and the big city, the bustling metropolis of Burlington, Vermont.
City that never sleeps, we turn out for each other, and I think that's really where the hope lies, is that, it's all done at the community level. Was 250 years ago, that's what started this whole thing, and it still is now. So
that's a great point.
we'll make do. We always have, and
We always have, and we
Things
always will.
change, and the country changes, but
Get there.
I think those principles that we were founded upon are still just as relevant now as they were 250 years ago, and just as important to fight for. So,
love to hear
it'll
it.
be
Good.
Interesting to see how this plays out in the next 250 years, but
It will be. They're going to be better than the first half. They had us in the
Someone
first
else's
half, but in the
problem.
second half,
Exactly.
all right, we're good. We're good. All right. Well, thanks for giving me some
Yeah,
hope
of
today,
course, dude.
man.
Thanks
This
so
has
much.
just been awesome. I didn't expect to find so much hope on a Saturday morning, but here we are. It's great. So
I'm glad
thanks,
we
man.
could
I
have this
appreciate it,
chat.
man.
Yeah, of course.
Cheers. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll start off. I'll look at you too. I forgot.
I wasn't sure.
No, my name is MJ. I work for Town Meeting TV here. I'm a producer, a field producer. So like I go out in the public. Like right now, I'm technically working. My camera's right there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and I like you'd see a reporter at any event. Produce content for public events, for town meetings, for any host of things that's going on in Chittenden County, and it can be. Yeah, as long or as short, but usually we try to make it as long as possible and try to stay at an event for as long as we can be there. Our motto is gavel to gavel. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. What are you doing here?
Did you say gavel to gavel?
Yeah,
What's the
gavel to
motto?
gavel.
I like that.
that's the motto.
Okay, first, my name's Carl. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I actually worked at VPERG one summer, and I remember walking
cool.
by the CCT office or the
Yeah.
general area and just being like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool."
I didn't even know it was there before. I started volunteering there when I was in college, and it totally blew my mind. I was like, wow, this random building has a whole TV studio in it, and I didn't even know it was there.
Heck yeah, but I'm Carl. I just moved up to Vermont recently,
Sick.
a
Where are
month
you
or
from?
two ago. I'm from southern New Hampshire.
Oh, sweet.
Somewhat of a
where
flatlander.
I was gonna say where in New Hampshire.
Near Keene.
Okay, cool.
Go Owls.
My grandparents live in New London, so
Oh, cool. New
yeah,
London's
I
lovely.
know the area, ish. But I'm from Boston, so I'm also a
Heck
Vermont
yeah.
transplant.
Much love to Boston.
I feel like it's the most common city for people to be from around here, unfortunately. But I'm curious, what brought you to this event?
I actually didn't know. I was getting weed at Burn Gallery, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, stuff in City Hall! Fark, I have to go."
I saw you
'Cause
earlier.
you have to go.
You've been interacting with a ton of booths though. You're eating this up.
I love tabling. It's so much fun.
It is.
I feel
really
like just having graduated college, it's like I need to soak up as many opportunities to get free stickers and talk to a bunch of random people as possible.
And that's such a good attitude to have, especially after just moving to a new place. Have you lived here before?
I lived here for a summer.
For a summer. That's
Yeah.
did it entrance you? Did it pull you in? Was it
Magnetic, absolutely.
It called you back.
It called me back, yeah.
I love that. It's such a cool place, and to have that attitude moving somewhere, and to just see something like this happening, and honestly, historical events aren't the draw for everyone, especially young people, and to be here and interacting with people and eating this up, it's so appreciated.
Gosh, I wish more young people were here because
I
this
do
is
too.
awesome, and I
I
like
do
being
too.
called young.
It's really cool.
Young.
That's really sick.
All right, shall we do a question?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, do you want to ask me a question?
Heck yeah.
Sure.
Some of these are abstract. I can't imagine.
Some of these are
250
What is
years.
abstract?
What do you imagine 250 years from now to be like?
250 years from now.
Where would you begin to answer that?
Yeah. Where would I even begin to answer that? I think that's a really difficult question. I feel like if you ask people that in 1950, they'd have some really cool answer, but maybe not. I just totally picture people in the past being there'll be flying cars and there'll be beautiful tall skyscrapers everywhere and everyone will be happy, utopia. And then now people have a hard time even having hope.
Yeah.
But it could have been that way then too, and that's just maybe where I'm at. So it's hard to look 250 years in the future and be I want this to happen, 'cause it's I have no clue. I don't even know what's gonna happen next year. So it's well.
I have to agree. That was so well put.
But you know what? If I would love to have that 1950s retro futuristic thing in 250 years. You know what? If we can hope for something, it could be something that silly. I'll give you a question. Let's see.
Okay.
I think after that question, maybe what does America need to really celebrate and lift up right now?
Wow, we're getting heavy. What does
Yeah.
America need to celebrate and lift up? Did you say? For a moment, it was soccer. I think that was pretty good.
Huge, and Vermont is huge for soccer right now.
That's been
too.
a lot of fun.
Vermont FC,
yeah.
Vermont Green's been killing it. I'm not a huge soccer fan, but I know that they do good. I think art. I don't know. I think it's been bringing people together. Music, unfortunately, I think we went through a period of time where people weren't going to concerts and people weren't going out and doing stuff, and it was due to the pandemic, due to pricing. But I think a lot of young people now are like, buckling down, doing home shows, and like trying to become artists and trying to cement themselves as people that make art, and whether or not that's their career. And I think lifting that up is a cool thing.
Absolutely.
Too.
I live with like 5 people, and they're all in a band. I'm the odd one out, just the non-musical one. So I guess I'm just a massive groupie. So I have to support that.
That's kind of cute. But also, you should learn the triangle or something. Like,
yeah.
You should get. Like,
I'm kind of nice in a kalimba, but
you can be the guy in Neo's "Yeah" that goes "Yeah, yeah" in the background.
Or the tequila guy.
Oh, exactly.
Exactly.
There always has to be a tequila guy. Do you want to go for another question?
Yeah, I think we can do a good one. Tequila guy was a good place to end off, but I'm hungry for another question.
I'm curious about these questions. They're heavy. Oh, what do you want okay, I feel like maybe this is a good one, especially with what we're talking. What do you want the people of the future to know about today? Right now.
Golly.
What
do we tell them?
What do we tell? Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, read my mind.
That we're all right.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
I think we're okay.
I don't know what the history books are saying then, but
I was gonna say I don't know what people are talking about us, but I think like the history, as in people talking about us, as in the history books, the people in the future. I don't know what they're saying about us, but I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Like we're fine. We can do it.
We can do it. We can absolutely do it.
Like we're cool. But man, look back at us and say we didn't. Don't say we didn't fight for you. That's all I'll leave it at.
Absolutely.
For sure. Anything else you want to add?
No, but thank you so much for having me, and thanks for the important work you guys do.
Thanks for eating up these deep questions.
Oh,
These are big ones. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Okay. Hi, Aaliyah. I'm Maggie.
Hi, Maggie. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Are you here as a presenter or participant?
I'm here as a participant.
Nice. I'm here with some friends of mine. We're presenting on the Vermont Monument Project, and I'm a garden guide. So we're rewriting, or we're reimagining the way that we tell history and stories, and so we're rethinking of how to commemorate the plants of Vermont using monuments.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Do you live in Burlington?
Yes, I do. Nice. I moved here around 2 to 3 years ago when I started my first fall semester at the University of Vermont.
Oh, nice. So you're still in school?
Oh, yes. I'm going to be a senior next semester.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you.
That's exciting. What are you studying?
I'm an individually designed major in the College of Education and Social Science. I'm focusing on art and education with the intention of creating educational materials through art.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Thank you.
I feel like there's a lot of overlap between what we do.
Yeah, I also am part of the College of Arts and Science as well because of my minor in art.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Aw. Okay, I'll ask a question that's here.
Go ahead.
What do you want people of the future to know about today?
That the past is important, the present is important, and the future is important. But the most important time that we need to be focusing on is the now, and we need to remember our lessons from our past in order to create a better future for everyone.
Love that. Yay. Cool. Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Of course. How do you celebrate milestones of life?
Ooh, I love that question. That's something I've actually been really thinking about. I feel it's really important to celebrate the little things because that's what we're here for. How do I celebrate the milestones of life? I guess always just throw a party, and it doesn't have to be a big party. It can just be a little one with a few people or whatever, and some good food and some good music, and just together with folks, and so that everyone can share in the memorable moment. So no matter if it's affecting, me or someone else, we can all share in that joy. Let's party.
Awesome. Woo! Party!
Yeah. Should I ask another one? Oh, I'm going to ask another one. Okay. What does America need to really celebrate and lift up?
We need to lift up everyone. Like, we all come from different backgrounds, different communities, different beliefs. What makes our country great is our own differences, not striving to be the same, but embracing each other. We all are part of the same world. We're all very different. It's not exactly a bad thing. It's just that we need to go ahead and find ways to go ahead and lift each other up. Focus on our strengths. Work on our skills. Work on communication and remember our history and learn how to live with each other instead of tearing each other apart.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thank you. Oh yeah.
Again, 100% agree.
What do you imagine 250 years from now to be like?
Oh my, I literally don't even know because I feel like everything is shifting so quickly. 250 years from now, I feel like people will be more concentrated in urban centers, and there's going to be a lot more wildness surrounding human communities. And hopefully by then, we would have been able to celebrate each other's differences and lift each other up in that way. So there will be more equality within those communities. I have no idea where, technology is going to take us, but I'm sure that it's going to be woven into our societies in a big way. I'm hopeful that it's in a way that actually supports communities as opposed to degrades them. So,
I agree.
Fingers crossed.
Oh yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, in terms of 215 years from now, I would definitely imagine us generations from now, us humans, assuming that we're still going to be living and we're not going to be extinct or close to extinction. We're still going to be making mistakes. We're still going to be learning, and we're either going to choose to grow from those mistakes or just ignore that and just dig ourselves into deeper holes. It's just part of how we're wired to be it. That's part of what makes us human. We're complex. We go ahead. We make these certain decisions. We have these different beliefs, and we just either stay stuck in a certain point, or we just keep on moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it feels challenging to picture what it'll be like in 250 years, because that's really quite a long time from now.
Oh yeah, apparently before the invention of cars, people back in the probably the 18th, 19th, century thought that the future would be these mechanical horses being carrying, help leading these the carriages.
Oh,
and
wow.
obviously, that's not
so wrong.
Oh yeah, that's not. It definitely didn't exactly come to fruition, but I guess except maybe in certain parts, but it's not the future. We're surrounded by cars. It's not like everyone relies on their carriage to be drawn by a mechanical horse, because A, they don't have carriages, and B, they don't have mechanical horses typically. And even if they did, it would be super expensive.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. Of course. Thank you so much. Take
Thanks.
care.
Nice chatting.
Happy 250th, of course. Thank you too.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Action. Hi there.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Lou Mossy from the Milton Historical Society.
That's you. I'm Will Hamilton from the Lost Mural Society.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's a society, but Lost Mural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yep.
Tell me about about your tent.
Okay. Milton Historical Society. We were established in 1976. A group of people decided it was about time to mark things down and keep note of things. So we're almost 50 years old. or 78. I said 76. It's
Yeah.
78. So we'll be 50 years old in a couple of years, which is great.
Yeah.
To have a historical society around for that long. We have a museum in Milton on School Street.
Mhm.
We're open on Saturdays from May through October, from 10 to 2. So
Gotcha.
come visit us.
Yeah, yeah.
And see what we have, our archives and our history.
Yeah. What do I need to know about Milton?
It's a booming town. We got a lot of construction going on in our downtown. Reconstructing Route 7 right around the Cozy Corner area, across from the post office and whatnot. And then we're going to be building a city center there with housing and businesses and commercial property.
Yeah.
So things are looking up there. Husky Injection Molding, or Husky Technologies, I think they are now, has a big manufacturing plant out there on the North Road. Plus, Catamount Industrial Park has, I don't know, probably 10, 15 or so businesses out there. So,
what's the population of Milton right now?
It's a little over 11,000, close to 12,000.
Yeah.
So I think we're about 11,000 in the 2020 census.
And in the context of Vermont, is that fifth biggest, fourth biggest?
I think we were in area and population around the eighth largest.
Eighth largest.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like
Gotcha.
that. So, and of course, in Chittenden County, that's where the population base is.
Yeah.
It's a part
Yeah.
of the greater Burlington area.
Cool.
So,
the stuff we're doing over there is we're trying to make a basically interactive map of immigration into Burlington, and I think down the road we would love to incorporate other towns and cities into that kind of story. So do you have any idea about immigration into Milton historically, like who was there?
well, in the early years, 250 years ago, we do have 29 Milton original settlers who fought in the Revolution.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Of course, they weren't born in Milton. They came
Yeah.
from Connecticut and Massachusetts and fought with Ethan Allen and defended the country, established a new country. So those were mainly the original settlers in Milton after the Revolution ended.
Yeah.
And, of course, Vermont was an independent country for a few years until 1791. So they were the original settlers. So they were of English descent, probably Protestant religion.
Yeah.
But like most of the northern part of Vermont, there was a mass immigration of French Canadians, which is part of my heritage as well. So there's a lot of French Canadian families, Irish families.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of what the immigration has been over time. And of course, things are changing. The demographics are changing. So there are other nationalities coming into town and the area. So something you might want to look into that was done a few years ago. It's called More Than a Market. It was put on, I can't remember who did it. It was a historical organization in Burlington. But it talks about the mom and pop stores that were in the Burlington, Winooski, Milton area.
Yeah.
And the immigrants. They were Irish, there was Italian, there was French, all throughout this area. So that might give you a little bit of a insight.
Yeah, we've looked at from 1850 to 1950 is kind of our time span, timeline. And between those dates, we've basically gone through all the city directories and the U.S. censuses.
Okay, yeah.
So from the directories, we've gotten some of the businesses.
Yep.
Focusing right now on 4 ethnic groups. So you said most of them: French Canadian, Irish, Jewish, and Italian.
Yep.
And then maybe expanding if we have more grant money.
Uh-huh.
But I do think the businesses are the thing we're lacking the most of, because for the residences, there's information in both the directories and the censuses, so you can kind of double check addresses.
Yep.
But for a lot of the businesses, they're not. There's no note of them in the census.
Right. Especially if they worked out of their home or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So definitely need to find more information on that.
Yeah, Milton had a lot of mills. They had grist mills. They had a brickyard, pulp mill, potash was part of what they manufactured.
Yeah.
And of course, farming. That was pretty much prevalent around the area.
Yeah.
Our hub, as it was called, was the center of town down by, where the dam is on Route 7 in Milton?
I don't know
Clark
Milton
Falls.
well at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you take Route 7 and just head north, like you're going into Georgia, you'll come to the intersection of Main Street and Route 7. There's a bridge that goes across the Limoilles River and the big dam. That was all part of our downtown.
Okay.
And so they had hardware stores and grocery stores. They had a tannery. They had harness making. They had wheelwrights. They had all of this stuff right in the middle of town.
Yeah.
Along with hotels and stuff like that. And the flood of 1927 pretty much washed that all out. And so things changed a little bit after that. But that was our center of town.
One of the most interesting things, like in the city directories, has been seeing what some of the businesses were. Like we ran into a lot of ice houses or icemen, which was not something that I was acquainted with. But makes sense.
Yeah, after the flood, they built the Clark Falls Dam. That was mostly to generate electricity for the electric company out of St. Albans. But they also built an ice house, which is still standing. And up until last year, it was our Public Works Department.
Okay.
And so the ice house, now that they put the dam up, they made Arrowhead Lake. So Arrowhead Mountain Lake is there, and so in the winter they would go and cut the ice and store it in the ice house, and that's what they use for refrigeration.
Yeah. Most of the icemen were Lebanese.
Oh, really?
In the 20s, 30s, 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
that's
that.
about all I know about that.
Yeah.
But that's what we found.
We haven't run across any stories yet in our archives, but doesn't mean that there's nothing there.
That's the hardest part for us. We have so many data points that are names, just thousands and thousands and thousands of names.
Yep.
And that shows an interesting story in and of itself over time. You kind of are left wondering who are any of these people, right? It feels shallow to just have surnames and surnames.
Yep.
So we're trying to figure out ways to make it more human. One of them being having photos in so it would be an interactive map.
Okay, yeah.
And if you look on North Winooski Avenue in 1920 and there's an icon of a house, you could click on it, see who was living there.
Okay.
And then maybe have a photo of that person.
Oh, okay.
So we've looked in yearbooks.
Yep.
And kind of primary sources. And the next step, we're trying to basically make it more open access where people, if someone had a family member who lived on, I don't know, Cherry Street or something, and has photos of that old house and of the people living there, they can upload it directly to the map. Or maybe not directly, but have us review it and then upload it.
Yeah.
So make it more open access.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
The stories are great, the pictures are great, but when you can put them together, it's fantastic.
Makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lakeside area in the southern part of the city has a long heritage. It was built for the cotton mill. That is now a professional building. The VA is there.
Okay.
I think there's some doctors in there as well.
Yeah.
But the whole area was built to house the employees of the cotton mill, and that's pretty much how my family came to Vermont on
You
my
said
mother's
French
side.
Canadian on your mother's side?
Yeah. French Canadian on my father's
On your
side
father's
as well,
side,
but
okay.
they were more in Milton.
Gotcha.
But it's got a rich history. Just everybody was related pretty much.
Yeah.
I remember going there and everybody was a cousin.
I'm looking at these prompts and one caught my eye. What do you imagine 250 years from now to be like?
It's hard to tell. I mean, things have changed so fast, even in my lifetime.
Yeah, mine too.
To see what, or try to imagine what things would be like. We have a postcard of a futuristic transportation scene in Milton. And so they have a railroad track, they have a blimp, they have an airplane.
Yeah.
Okay, and this was put out, I don't know, probably in the 1920s. Okay, the future of Milton. So if I was to put something together like that right now, I don't even have the imagination.
How many blimps do you think we'll have in 250 years?
Probably none. We might be more Star Trek-y where we can, beam us up here to there or something. That might be more reality.
Yeah.
But, I won't be here to see it.
Me neither.
But,
hopefully someone will be.
Somebody will be.
Yeah.
But even in my short lifetime, what I grew up with and yourself, I mean, I have an old Palm Pilot. Okay, that was the thing.
Yeah.
And now you carry everything on a phone.
Yeah.
That has more computing power than the spaceships that went to the moon back in the 60s. So what's next?
What's next?
You know,
Yeah.
I guess it's unlimited. We may be living on Mars by then. We may be experiencing space travel, right?
Yeah.
It may be more realistic.
Yeah.
You know? We may be like Back to the Future where we can run our vehicles on garbage.
Yeah.
You know, and then we don't have to worry about the environment as much. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah. Or we'll be gone. Who knows?
That could be too. Yeah. Yeah. We'll never know. Yeah, I guess it's the way of humanity, I guess.
I guess so.
If you look at humanity over time as we've evolved and learned and grew, and you know, we still basically need the same essentials: food, water, shelter. But other than that, everything's an amenity.
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
and
to chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck on your project.
And you as well.
And I'll look you up.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Hi, Rada.
Hi, Gary.
Welcome to this wonderful little show here. Could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Rada. My pronouns are they, them. I'm currently in Vermont doing a chaplaincy program up at the hospital right now. But part-time, I live full-time actually in Boston. And full-time, I'm doing ministry full-time.
Wonderful.
But part-time, I actually work as a historian at Old North Church in downtown Boston.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
So I have a question for you. What does America need to really celebrate and lift up?
I think America really needs to celebrate and lift up the untold stories and the untold voices that have long since been suppressed and often ignored in our world and in our history. You know, we have 250 years that is America's officially recognized as a country, but we also know that, you know, there have been people living on this continent that we now call North America for thousands of generations, and the indigenous communities that have been here and have called this place their ancestral home and still do.
Right.
And, you know, in that there has been stories of, you know, love, heartbreak, war, peace, community, faith, spirituality. You know, we have, and then it just, you know, so there's thousands of years of history that, much of that history is being told. And then especially in these 250 years, I think, whoa, there's a lot of history that is, there's a lot of history that is still being ignored and still being suppressed.
Right.
You know, I think especially, I work a lot in the LGBT community, and especially in my ministry, I work with a lot of transgender, non-binary community folks. And I think there's a lot of queer history that doesn't get told.
Right.
You know, I'm really grateful by the presence of the Vermont Queer Archives, which there's a tent down here that's present, and the work that they're doing, I think, to just uplift queer voices that have always been here. You know, I think we need to talk more about the history of our BIPOC community members, Black and Indigenous, both those who were all the way back into the 18th century, Black and Indigenous free or enslaved communities that were in this state all over the country. And, you know, we often talk about, when we talk about Black and Indigenous people, we talk about often the history of slavery, history of enslavement, but we also don't really think about who are those people in reality, what were their lives like, how did they live their lives, who were their children, you know, and how did they live with the society structures and the challenge that was enslavement. You know, in my work at Old North Church, where we often give a tour in the galleries, where we call the balcony, where we do some of that work. We uplift the voices of Black and Indigenous free or enslaved people that would have sat up there. And we talk about not just how they would have experienced going to a church that was First Church of England, then Episcopal, attending a church there where they would have been segregated, and many of them would have been forced to attend because of their enslavers. But how do we actually talk about who were the people up there and how did they form community in their own way? And I think that really is a remarkable way of looking about how even and especially in today's world, we look
Right.
at spaces like this and we think about who is welcome, who is not welcome, who is allowed to feel like they belong, and who isn't, and what does that say about us as a society, especially a
Right.
society that, you know, the writers 250 years ago wrote that all people are created should be created equal.
Right. If there was one step you could take to get to where you would like things to be, what would that one step be?
I think not only telling the stories of these people, but really working to have those stories be known in spaces where they may not be known as well, as well,
yeah.
I think. So, these kinds of events are great because they allow for ordinary folks who may not necessarily want to step into a history museum get to meet folks and learn about these stories, and maybe for the first time, and really come to recognize that there's so much about history and the people that have made this country as it is that we don't know anything about,
Right.
or that we know about but we aren't talking about.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sure. What do you think we need to remember from our history?
What do I think? Well, very good question. History is many times written by the victors or the ones who kind of pervaded over a situation, whether it's a war, a revolution, as we've gone through. But there, as you were talking earlier, there are many stories around a particular event, and we typically don't listen to the whole chorus. We listen to one voice, perhaps, two maybe if we're lucky. And I think we'd be better served as a nation if we listen to those that have been voiceless and give voice to those that are voiceless. So that would be my wish there, yeah. One more question.
Yeah.
What do you love about home and community?
What I love about home and community is getting to be with people who have shared values about what does it mean to be in relationship with each other. And that is the aspect of relationship essential to my belief system and the community in which I've grown up in and the community in which I'm now ministering in. And I think, as I was saying earlier, with the community that was in the galleries at Old North Church, knowing that people are coming together and intentionally finding ways to not only just connect, but support each other and journey with each other on this journey of life through its struggles, through its joys and sorrows, and recognizing that there are going to be differences, there are going to be moments of disconnection, and still finding ways in which we can support each other and just be with each other in relationship as we're all going through the journey of life.
Very good. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Yeah, same.
Hey, Burlington, we're having so much fun here. Can you hear me? Okay.
There you go. Right
Hey.
into it.
All right. Hey, Burlington, we're having so much fun. We love your city. We're up biking with our friends. We were actually here right after the pandemic, and it's amazing. Everything's all open again, and it's lovely. We just love Burlington, Vermont, and the biking is epic. And let's see, a prompt here. Let's see. What do we need to remember from our history? We need to remember people and our love for people and peace across the world and have fun biking. Yeah, biking. So I'm AK. That's my nickname. And this is my sweet friend here. We bike together a lot.
Hi, I'm Selena, and I'm from New Hampshire. And I'm out here biking and love biking, and that's my big thing. And and I love Vermont, and I love this area, and think it's a great place, and having a great time.
Yeah, thank you for doing this history thing here. This is like, we were biking along and then we found this event going on, 250 years. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Happy birthday, America. All right, thank you.
Happy birthday, America.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name's Star.
Nice to meet
I live
you.
in New North End. I've been in Burlington since 2019.
Okay, cool.
What about you?
My name is Kate. I live in like just before the Winooski Bridge.
Oh yeah.
On the Burlington side, and I've started going to school here in the fall of 2023, but I'm from like Washington State.
Oh wow, that's a really far time. Wow. What brought you to Burlington?
I was looking to like go to school somewhere on the East Coast. My mom's from Maine.
Oh yeah.
So I thought it'd be cool to be in the Northeast, and then my friend like posted UVM one day, and I was like, that's pretty. And then I saw it was a good school, so I was like, I'd like to go there.
That's awesome. Yeah, my the reason I came here was my parents were going to retire here, and I was looking for a job in 2019, and my dad was like, hey, UVM is hiring, and you should check it out. So I got a job at UVM, and I came up in 2019, and then they moved here in April of 2020. So it was kind of just all over the place, and I just fell in love with the area, and that's kind of like where I've been ever since. That I don't want to leave. It's gorgeous here.
It's so lovely.
I love it. Even the winters, I love it.
I don't mind the winters at all.
Yeah.
I spent like the last few years in Arizona, so I like really missed the seasons and like weather similar to Washington. So this has been really nice for me.
I went on a vacation to Las Vegas for about like 4 days in the middle of July.
Oh,
that was a mistake.
Beautiful.
I understand that, but I came back and it was raining, and I remember thinking to myself like, "Wow, I've missed this. I've missed the weather here." So,
yeah, it's nice. I really like it here.
But yeah, so I guess looking at these, I guess like we can either talk about like I'm not really sure what do you want to talk about? Like pick something.
Maybe what is important for people of the future to remember?
I think
that could be fun.
Yeah, I think kindness and compassion. It was funny because just before I sat down here, I came in and there was a woman who was walking back home after like bringing her baby here, and she was struggling with her
I think I saw you.
Yeah. And she was struggling with her carrier, and I helped her back home.
Yeah, it's very
and it's just I have a story that when I was a teenager, like 13, 14, I was at a department store, and there was a woman there, and she had a really, really cute haircut. And so I complimented her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really like your haircut. She seemed very flustered, and she kind of walked away. And later on, she came back, and she said, I want you to know how much that meant to me, because this is my first time I've been able to grow my hair out because I just got off of chemo. And this is amazing. And ever since then, it's just been something in the back of my mind where it's like, I realize that you never really know what people are going through. Right. And you never really know like how they're feeling every day. So I always try and like spread that kindness and compassion, and like and I think that's important for other people, because like a lot of people don't realize how the person in front of them is a lot similar to them than you realize.
Yeah.
And I have family who are on different sides of the political spectrum, and I have friends who are there, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, but where are we in common? You know? And I know that in times like this, it's extremely difficult to find that commonality sometimes, but I think that it's also important to remember kind of like we're only human.
Right.
And it's also just like you have to understand kind of what you're going through and why you would lean certain ways and what makes it important. And you also have to think back to like, you know, what was your upbringing and like kind of thinking, and you have to approach these things with compassion and strength.
Yes.
And I think that's important for people to remember, especially in the future going forward, because it's like, if you don't have that compassion and humanity, like what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So, but I would love to, what do you think?
I think there's so many. I think what comes to mind for me is like more like hands-on learning, like just the importance of it, and like experience and like being very involved.
What are you studying at UVM?
I study history
is it related
and
to that?
English.
Oh yeah.
So I love writing essays. I really do. Like obviously I get very stressed out about it, but I love it so much, and it really just makes me upset to hear how like professors are trying to like rethink how they are assigning tests and stuff with AI and stuff.
Oh, really?
So I feel like just learning might get lost. Like there's potential there, or like at least some importance of it. Like I think some fundamental like value to it might get lost.
Yeah.
I think there's a danger for that. So I think just holding on to that importance.
That's really refreshing to kind of hear, especially from like a student, because I've seen so many like people online saying like, you know, oh, I can just like use AI to summarize like Huckleberry Finn or whatever. And I'm like, no, you need to read the book.
Yeah, like
or at the very least use Spark Notes. It's been around for 20 years.
No,
but yeah, like that idea of involving your brain in whatever you're doing and making sure that you are aware of like what's happening. And I think that's also part of like, if you just have a computer tell you like, you know, oh, this is what's important, like you don't get that. And I think that also translates over to sort of like art in humanities as well, like because I'm a writer, like
I like to write too.
And it's there's a portion of it that's like, you don't realize, a lot of people don't realize that part of the creation process is the process.
Right.
And in doing so, you learn stuff. You learn stuff about yourself. I learn, you know, proper grammar. I learn proper, like, you know, like how to use a paintbrush. I like, there's all this stuff that you just don't get if you just skip it. And I think that's also important with the hands-on thing as well. And also expanding it to, you said you were doing history as well. Yeah, expanding to history of like, I mean, just look around where we're at. Like this is more history of Burlington than I've literally ever seen. And I've just been fascinated by all of these booths telling like all these things about, you know, like there's one right over there that's just like the intersections of like immigration and the history of immigration in Burlington. And I think that is incredibly important to learn about,
especially today.
Especially today. And that's one of those things that like, I'm so grateful that we have places like this. But it's important to have that, you know? So like I like that. How about here? How is your life today shaped by 250 years of history?
I don't know. It feels like it's so integrated and so like in there, but I mean, like it's also like it's hard to like pick it out from like because you almost have to think like pretty much just about everything comes from like history. Like nothing just spawns. There's like all these like shapes, like it started one way and it might look completely different, but it's because it started one way. So I guess
you said that you're from Washington State, right? Has your family always been there, or like has it come from certain places? Or
my my family, we've lived there for like a good chunk of time, but like I have family from Norway and Sweden. Not that if they're there, I don't know them, but like that's where like my great grandparents came from. I also have like my great-grandmother came from Germany when she was like 3. So we're like from the like that kind of section of like Europe. I'm not very like tied to my like culture from over there. Like we don't celebrate any like Nordic holidays. I think they used to, which I was talking to my dad about because his family's the side where they're from there. And I was like, why? Like I like wish we like celebrated more like traditions from over there, just like to have some knowledge because I feel very disconnected from it. But I also love like the American culture. Like I think there's a lot that is upsetting about it, but like there's like the Native Americans are like so like they are this country. Like if not for them we wouldn't be here. They helped us out like living in the winters. African Americans also fundamental to our culture. So it's just I love about American culture is that it is so blended.
Yeah.
And it's like just a mixing pot of all these other cultures,
Yeah.
and it's so great to celebrate it when it's done nicely.
Yeah. My family, at least my dad's side of the family, is heavily immigrant family. So it's Italian, Polish, and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And we have extremely heavy influences from that. So every Thanksgiving we are like Italian Catholic and Polish Catholic, and we have like food that represents that. We make pierogies. My grandmother has an Italian meatball recipe that's a family recipe that's passed down, and I feel very connected to that. But on the topic of American like culture, I've also noticed that there's almost a like modern day culture, and it's been coming out recently with the World Cup that's been happening. I've been seeing so many videos of Europeans and other like Brazil and Argentina and stuff that have come here to see the World Cup. And it's so funny because there's certain things that we almost take for granted.
Right.
But like there'll be people who are reacting to like portion sizes and like the size of Walmart and the size of Target and Buc-ee's in like the gas station that's like massive and it has like its own merch line, like all of these things. And it's really fascinating to me because, like, yes, we do have a historical aspect of things, which is very important to know. But also, I really love the fact that, like, we also have almost a modern day culture of, like, you know, there's this very, very funny video of like an Italian like soccer player who went to a gas station and he got like a big gulp and he was like, I asked for a medium size. This is a medium size. This could feed my entire family for a month. Like he was just fascinated by it, and I love that idea of that, like, even almost modern culture is still like, there's still something to celebrate. There's still something unique about America. I have a good friend of mine who is from America, and she grew up in Chicago and Pennsylvania, but she has lived in Australia for about 25 years now. And every single time she comes back to America, she always goes to the grocery store, and she just stands in the aisle, the cereal aisle, because she's just amazed by how much we have. And I think that's also another thing, is that, like, sometimes we take for granted what we have that other people don't, but I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I think that that's something that we can take and learn more, like learn introspectively, if that makes sense.
No, and I think it's so much nicer when you see people appreciate it, or or just like notice it.
100%.
Then it just like gives you time to reflect on it being taken for granted.
I think one thing that also popped up to me was I believe it was Argentina that ended up in like Kansas City or something, or some place, ended up in the
Midwest,
middle of nowhere. And I was reminded of a tradition, because my mom is from the South, like deep South. And there's a tradition that we have, which is if there's ever a massive change in someone's family, there's like some sort of parade going on outside. If there's ever a major change in a family, so the death in the family, birth in the family, like a marriage or a big shift, you bring a casserole. And it's one of those things that I have noticed up north people don't do.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we had a neighbor who lost his mother very suddenly, and he was just like having to deal with a lot of stuff, all the things that you have to deal with. And we were like, oh, well, let's just make him a casserole and bring over to the family. And they were just shocked, because they were like, well, we didn't even think about eating, because you don't think about eating when you're dealing with that. Or when my neighbor had a baby, I was like, here's a casserole. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because you don't really think about that. And I love how that's a very like iconic Southern thing that has not really like gotten even to the further United States, but I still love it because it's still part of like my culture as well. And I think that that's like, if there's anything that the World Cup has shown me and like the reactions to it, it's that there's so much of American culture that like could be necessarily seen as like cringe or bad, but also like is almost funnily like unique to us. And I think like if we embrace that aspect of things, and another thing that I noticed was people are nice here. Like
really
people are so mean sometimes over in like Europe or whatever. They don't talk to each other. But like around here, like it's like, oh, like hey, we're standing in line at the like grocery store. How's your day going? And it's just like a thing that we do.
Yeah,
and it goes back to that compassion thing that I was talking about. Like
I was just in France and we like walked into our hotel lobby and saw the guy who like took us to our room that day prior, and we were like, hey. You could tell he was like a little like caught off guard by us for talking like we've known him. But like that's just like
that's just how you do it around here. And
I think that's great. And I think that like just like our own uniqueness, everybody's uniqueness, I feel like no one should be afraid of being unique. Like that's what's so special about all these things. Like we do it one way, awesome. You do it another way, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it's all about.
And I think that that's where humanity just like comes into effect truly and fully, is that like we all have our own specialties, but we're also all like part of like a group, you know, and like we can all
global
contribute.
Citizens.
Exactly.
Like we're not just citizens of one.
There's a
place.
I don't know if you've seen Project Hail Mary. But I've been listening to the audiobook and I've gotten to the point where I'm almost like reflecting on like what it means to be a human being just from that movie alone and the book, and just being like, wow, okay, like we are truly just such a unique species in that like we have the capacity for such great good. And when you see it not be good, it almost breaks your heart, because it's like we have the potential.
We do.
And we should encourage it. And I think that that's definitely something that like we can definitely strive for in the future, is like as long as we teach our children and our neighbors and everybody like that kindness and respect, like it's just, you know, like and it reminds me of a Mr. Rogers quote of when he was talking about when 9/11 happened and someone asked him like, you know, what do you have for the kids? He said, when my mother and I saw things on the news, she would always say, look for the helpers. And that's where you'll see the goodness of humanity. And every single time I see anything bad, that's what I do. And that's where I like look for, like, I am also internally an optimist. I'm very hard to make a frown. But when I do see bad things happening, like that's kind of what I do. You know?
Of course.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's been nice talking. I'm interning at a place.
Oh, yeah. I won't
really
keep
nice
you. Yeah, no, this
you.
has been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so Skylar, you're saying I go first. I am Gumpy, also known as Sean Neri, and you are?
I'm Skylar, and I used to be called Sky because there was many Skylars in my old class.
And I think we pick one of these questions and then we ask. So, all right, so I'm going to ask you, what is important for people of the future to remember?
That littering isn't a good thing.
Oh boy, I agree with that. Yep. And I'm gonna add to that. I love yours. I'm gonna add to it to live every day to the best of your ability. All right, which one do you want to ask?
How is your life today shaped by 250 years of
history?
Okay,
you're asking me that one? Well, I think that we're always impacted by things that happened in the past, and you know, a big one is we get to live in this awesome country with a democracy, and we get to have so much freedom that people in the other world, in other places in the world, don't have.
Right.
What about you? What do you think?
I think that all people should be treated the same way, no matter if they have a disability or they don't, because it doesn't matter who they are. It just matters that they're good or nice. It doesn't matter anything. It just matters that they're kind to you.
I love that. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you.
All righty, let her roll.
I'm Whitney.
Hi, Whitney. I'm Jim McCullough.
Whitney Feininger. I guess I'll do. Okay. Okay, Jim. What do we need? Sorry. What do we need to remember from our history?
That Vermont is a free republic, and we are not run by kings.
That's true. That's true. I agree with you, and it feels.
A little political statement there.
Yep. Yeah, it is. This is all political statements on the table. All right. You want to ask me one?
All righty. How do you celebrate your favorite milestone?
How do you celebrate your favorite milestones? Oh, I like that question because I think milestones are important, and people have really different milestones in their life. Like, for some people it's marriage, but for some people it's work or it's college, or maybe it's something really small like planting a garden. And I just think we do our best to celebrate ourselves. We celebrate with friends, we go out to dinner, or if we just celebrate ourselves and we got to just like take some photos of what we did or go buy ourselves a treat, it doesn't matter as long as you do it.
Well, you know what? I totally agree with that. That last statement doesn't matter. And I asked that question because I'm going to ask it of myself also and share that with you. My favorite milestone is every day I wake up
Yeah.
and see that beautiful sun or the pouring rain.
Where do you live?
Lucy's my bride of 63 years, and we live in our family home, the Giles Chittenden homestead at Catamount Family Center in Williston.
You live at the Catamount Center, where all the bike trails are.
Yeah, Lucy and I started that business in 1978.
I had no idea. Are you kidding? I've ridden my bike there so many times. Wow! So are we allowed to go off script? I didn't grow up in Vermont. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh boy.
And then I went to school in Athens, Georgia, which is small. And then I have some family up here, and I came up here, and this was like 20 years ago now. But I love riding my bike. I didn't get into biking, and I'm a little scared of mountain biking, but I like Catamount because you can go on trails that aren't scary.
You can, yes. Yes, you
So
can.
do you live like in that old house?
Yeah.
Okay, I had no idea anyone lived there or anything like that. That's so cool.
So that house was purchased by my great-grandparents in 1873.
Okay.
And they acquired it from a guy who owned it since 1818 or something of that nature. He got it from the Chittenden family. So it's been in the family forever and ever and ever. Yeah, we were born to take care of it, I think, be stewards of it and the land.
Yeah. What's your favorite activity to do?
It's my favorite.
Like biking or skiing?
Yeah. It depends on the season now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people who like to fat bike.
Yeah.
In the winter.
Yeah.
I think winter's for skiing.
Yeah.
Besides, those fat bikes weigh 150 pounds, it seems like.
Yeah. Do you like cross-country skiing?
I love cross-country skiing.
I took a lesson there. Didn't go so well, but I'll try again.
Well, try again because if you do it without some good technique lessons.
Yeah.
Lucy said I had to take lessons when we first started. And I go, why? I know how to ski. She goes, you've already got too many bad habits. You don't need to develop any more.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, it was nice to meet you, and it's super hot, and I'm going to think about cross-country skiing on the hot days. And I hope I'll see you out there the next time I'm at Catamount.
Well, come make some noise. Lucy and I are retired from that.
Okay.
In 2019 when we conserved the property. But you've got the job also to say hi to Lauren Glenn Daviton for Jim McCullough, okay?
I will. Say hi to Lauren.
Let's do this question together. I'll start.
You are ready. You're rolling.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. How about
Okay.
I start? Okay. Cool.
Sweet.
Sweet.
But we also have to introduce ourselves.
Okay, that's right. Hello.
Wait.
Where are we looking? Are we looking? Oh.
Okay.
Well, I don't
Cool.
need to introduce myself to you, but I'm gonna.
You
Just-
should.
Just for the.
Just for the people.
Oh, there's Evelina. Oops, sorry. We're recording something, but it's nice to see you. Hi, Arthur. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
I am your former professor. You are my former student. My name is Dr. Alexandra Garrett, and I go by Alexi in real life, and I'm an assistant history professor at St. Michael's College in Colchester, which you know. I'm also, for this and next year, the official Revolutionary War historian for the state of the Vermont's 250th commission to celebrate 1776 and 1777, right? Yes. And you are?
Hi, my name is Rada Ruggles. I am a chaplain at the University of Vermont Medical Center, was an alum of St. Michael's College.
You are an alum.
I am an alum
Yes.
of St. Michael's College, 2023.
Yes.
Took one of your classes. I think it was it 18th century? Was it
Yes.
women in 18th century? Yes, I
It
was right.
was.
Aha.
It was gender empowerment.
Gender
early
empowerment in
America.
early America. Yes, that was such a good class.
Thank you.
And now I work as a chaplain, but also part-time work as a historian at the Old North Church in downtown Boston, where I'm currently living up here for the summer.
That's right. You are in one of the 3 most important cities
Yes.
during the American Revolution, and therefore this year
Yes.
celebrate the American Revolution.
Yes, and we celebrated our 250th anniversary, so to speak, last year.
Yes.
With the lighting of the 2 lanterns of the Old North Steeple.
Yes,
So-
yes, right, because 1775,
1775, yeah.
Concord, all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, Boston, New York, and Philly are the places to be.
They
so
really are. They
that's so
really
exciting.
are. And here too, in a way, too.
Here
Like-
too, yes, in a different way.
yeah.
Okay, so we want to answer this question?
Yeah, let's go.
What do you want people to know about this time?
I think I wanted people to know about this time is just how incredibly people are still resisting in today's world.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about 250 years of the American Revolution and ordinary people resisting in their own way
Yes.
in these cities, but also in rural parts of the country.
Yes.
And people are still doing that today, and just how much people are showing up right now and showing up at the No Kings protests, showing up on, corners of streets every single week, showing up at churches, showing up at public spaces, just all over, and still finding ways to resist. But also the smaller ways too. I think what I love about telling the story of the history of the city of Boston is the ways in which community was really formed, and how community, especially think about in the city of Boston and during prior to the siege of Boston, Dorchester Heights, the city was essentially in lockdown, and how people in that time came together and they really supported each other and helped each other survive, and how that's still happening today. I think, and just people are-
protest is our American inheritance.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing more American than protest, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, America started as a protest against British taxation, and that's why I think that anytime you see Americans protesting something their government is doing, or protesting something private companies are doing, that is the most patriotic thing you
Really
could
is.
do, right? Is to make your country better, or make it in a way that's more equal and better in the way that you see fit for this nation, right? So what I want people to know about this time is very similar to what you said. The listeners are lucky because 2 historians are here, right? Not just 1, 2. I want people to know about this time that there's so much to say. I'm trying to think exactly how to say it. Basically, we have certain stereotypes of the American Revolution. I think all of us like to think back and say to ourselves, we would have been a patriot because that was the right point of view, right? To be a patriot meant you were against British monarchy and against, too much taxation, and you wanted to be an independent republic, and those things are all well and good, and freedom and liberty and all those words we're used to. Here's the thing, though. Only 20% of the population, I should say, here's what I'll say, 20% of the population were loyalists, 40% of the population were patriots and 40% were disaffected.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the patriots were never a majority viewpoint until later in the war. Patriots were also the ones that were suppressing free speech.
Yes.
Yes, they were the ones that were going up to suspected loyalists and forcing them to sign oaths saying, you know, I support the patriot cause, or, you know, under threat of running you out of town or burning your house. And this is what patriots did. They would go into suspected loyalist houses, especially in Boston, and say, oh, you know, do you have any British manufactured goods here? Where's your teapots? Things like that. And they'd also sexually assault the women in the house.
Yeah.
And they were committing acts of rhetorical and physical, literal violence against people. And yet we conveniently forget that.
Yep,
right?
we do.
They were suppressing the free speech rights of their fellow subjects. Like, loyalists were their neighbors. The disaffected, by disaffected I mean people who were kind of not one way or the other, who were just trying to live day by day, not that politically, they don't think of themselves as very politically minded. They're just like, well, which way is my neighborhood going? I guess I'll go that way. What about all these people? What about their right to not be harassed? What about their rights to have their own political viewpoints? Right? So I think there's this, the best way, I guess, maybe to encapsulate what I'm trying to say is that lots of average Americans like ourselves like to imagine the patriots as the good guys because they're the ones that fought for an independent republic and won the war and do support republicanism and democracy. So yes, that is all well and good. However, the real patriots were doing that through force and through suppression of free speech and through violence. Now, when you think about the January 6, 2021 protesters, a lot of them called themselves patriots. And so ironically, they were saying, well, we are protesting, we're doing an overthrow of government, just like the patriots did, and isn't that a good thing? On the one hand, it's easy for us to say that was wrong, like that was a totally wrong interpretation of what the patriots are doing. On the other hand, the only reason we're offended that they're calling themselves like patriots is because we don't like to imagine the real patriots as the bad guys. But they kind of were the bad guys during the American Revolution.
They really were.
It's interesting symbology. It's much more complicated than that symbology-wise. But there are some hard truths in this country. The patriots weren't always the good guys. The loyalists and disaffected were neighbors, and that's just talking about white people. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was about to add. There's such a history of, oppression and enslavement of Black and Indigenous people. And I was reading this book recently about how there's such a long history of, especially enslavement of Indigenous people, going far, far back beyond, the founding of the country, that isn't talked about. Now there's some history books that are being written about the communities, the Indigenous communities that, are being, captured and taken back to England, all these other places, and just the harm that was being committed against Indigenous communities, who were many times trying to create relationship, trying to create partnership with, English settler, English colonists that were coming in. And just like the amount of people, especially, in 1776, in 1776 when, the Patriots, quote, drove loyalists out of Boston, and after the siege of Dorchester Heights, there is, a lot of people that get driven out of Boston. They have to flee, and with them came the enslaved Black and Indigenous people who they didn't have a choice. They had to flee. There's a beautiful story at Old North Church that we have that actually got written into a play called Revolution's Edge, and it tells the story about a Black enslaved man named Kiedaisch, who was this enslaved person of the minister at that time, the Reverend Matthew Biles Jr., and how when that night occurred, Reverend Matthew Biles Jr. fled with his family, and he took Kiedaisch with him. What we later found out is that Kiedaisch had a wife and children who were enslaved by another white family in Boston, and they never got to see each other again.
Yes.
Yes,
horrible stories like that exist for enslaved people and Indigenous people, especially during the American Revolutionary era.
Absolutely, yeah.
This goes right back into what we were talking earlier about the irony of the rhetoric of freedom. So liberty, freedom from British tyranny, and that's what white patriots are talking about. But the people providing freedom to enslaved people were actually the British, mostly. Yeah. Okay, so in 1775, Lord Dunmore, who was the royal governor of Virginia at the time, proclaimed, as a war measure, hey, if you're enslaved, come fight for the British, run away from your rebel masters, so you're the patriots, come fight for us and we'll free you. Some 20,000 enslaved people took up that cause and fought for their freedom with the British side. But, oh, no, let's not remember the British as the good guys, right? The British actually were the good guys to lots of enslaved people.
Isn't there, I believe it was, I don't know how many years it was after the American Revolution, but I'm pretty sure there's a point where the British Empire later on frees all enslaved people in their colonies afterwards.
Yes. So
and there was
slavery is completely abolished, like slave trade including in Britain in 1833, and we of course don't do that until 1865 when we have to do a civil war in order to get it there. Right? So and with indigenous people in particular, again, the British were the ones offering them more freedom during the American Revolutionary War than the Patriots were, because the Patriots and other white neighbors, they're wanting indigenous people's land, right?
Yep.
So that's your enemy. And if the British are saying, we'll protect you from these people, come fight for us, or, hey, we'll give you back some of the land, or we'll do X, Y, and Z to help you, of course you're going to go side with the British, right? Plus the British they won the last war. The British won the 7 Years' War. So if you're an indigenous person who remembers that, you're like, they win wars. Yeah, I'm going to side with them. Mm-hmm. But it's a gamble, right? You gamble every time on who's going to win this war. And unfortunately for indigenous people, the British lost the war. And so the American Revolutionary War was absolutely devastating for indigenous people. As much as we're here on a July 2026 weekend, which is a very patriotic month this year especially, we need to remember not all Americans, and in fact the original Americans of this country, the original inhabitants, found this great war that we celebrate as actually highly devastating. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's something that, I'm sure you remember from my classes. That's the general tone we strike.
And that's what we talk about. That's what we talk about in my job at Old Norwood Church.
That's right. We have the good parts about American history, and we have the ones that no one likes to remember, but we need to remember.
Yeah. I actually have a question for you, and we can both. Maybe I can answer it too. But I have a question. Since you teach American history right now, and I'm kind of doing my own version of teaching the public American history right now. What is the one thing that you want the people that you work with, students in your case, for me, the public, what's the one thing you want them to walk away with?
About this time? About the American Revolution? Or?
About the American Revolution, or about, as we're marking 250 years of the American Revolution in this time, as we are right now, politically and culturally, socially. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, what do you try to have your students walk away with?
I want them to know the revolution is not over. We don't have a perfect society yet. We don't have a fully equal society. In fact, we have political forces, especially, Trump's party right now, that are actively trying to deny voting rights. They're actively trying to take away freedoms from different types of Americans, right? So if the revolution were over, then we'd all have free and fair voting rights, and there would be general equality in the nation among genders, sexes, classes, races. We don't have that, right? So it's actually quite American and quite patriotic for us to keep fighting for those equalities. What about you?
Good. That's a good answer. That's good. I think I would say something along the similar lines, but I think something that I often like to tell the people that I work, or the public that I talk to, is that, especially in a space like Old Norwood Church, the story isn't just about within a 10-year scope. There's so much history that happens, that it has happened in our country that we aren't talking about, or that we aren't really thinking about. And, all these people were also just humans that,
they're flawed.
There was this revolution going on, but at the same time, they were people that were going to church regularly, worshiping, loving the people that they were seeing, maybe arguing with their neighbors, we don't know, having regular disputes about, someone stole their cabbage, mourning their dead, having communication still with their loved ones beyond the grave, having their own values and belief systems. And all of that is coming together when they're in times of conflict and chaos.
That's right.
And it's not just about the revolution was the problem, but our society, our country, and our world, and even history has gone through so many experiences like this, and I think we forget that they're humans. And we're all responding in our own time, in our own way.
That's right. It's easy on a historical reflection to be like, here's the one event that led to the other, and everything's just a straightforward line, and that's just not true, right?
No.
Other people had to make choices during key moments, and things could have gone the other way every time, right? Yep. So, yeah, these are individuals who are just making the best choices they can in the time and place that they lived. And the same with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, this has
All
been
right.
fun.
This is so much fun.
Shall we end?
Shall we end?
Okay,
All right.
yes. High five.
High five.
I don't know if the listeners can hear that, but...
I'm Addison.
I'm Denny Meekum.
Perfect. What do you love about your home and community, I guess?
About our...
Yeah, about like Vermont, about
Vermont.
our home. Yeah.
Well, I moved here in 2020,
Okay.
so I'm a fairly new resident
Yes,
for
okay,
Vermont.
okay.
And I absolutely love the state. I wish I'd moved here sooner. And I'm president of the board of the Ethan Allen Homestead Museum.
Okay.
And so we're really excited about what's going on here today. And I think we, as Americans, this time in our life, need to not be afraid of looking at our history because it's still with us. So I think events like this just to raise awareness for people to understand what our history is and how we can change things as we move through the centuries.
Very good. Yeah. I grew up in Essex, so I'm like 20 minutes from here. I've always, before this, I've kind of been ready to get out of Vermont, so I kind of had a different view of you just because I was always like, there's nothing to do around here. I just can't wait to get out of the state. So I'm going to college in Rhode Island, but it's really making me appreciate. Every time I come back, I drive on 89 and I see all the mountains and I'm like, wow. I am actually really grateful I grew up here. I feel like it's such a privilege. It's such a nice community and I feel like I took it for granted for all the years. So I'm glad that now I'm kind of coming back for the summer and getting to actually appreciate it for what it is.
You have a balance.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's funny because I came to Vermont as a senior, and you were born here.
Yeah,
and, so it's, it's kind of an interesting perspective from all of that. So
definitely, yeah. And my grandmother grew up in Burlington. She's lived here, I think, on the same house for like 50 years now and stuff. So we have very different lives because I've tried to travel everywhere I could, but she's kind of stayed put, and so it's always interesting to see.
Your college, what are you studying? Is
it American history and cultural and historic preservation.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
right.
So yeah, I was originally going to do publishing as my career, but when I got to college, I realized I was like, I can't do my life without history. Like I need to study it no matter what the job market looks like, no matter how hard it's going to be. So I transferred schools, I changed my major, so now I'm going to Salve, trying to do whatever I can in order to kind of be in this museum field. So I'm very excited to be here because
my background is history, is art museums, not history museums in terms professionally. But I grew up with history in the Washington D.C. area, so it's really important that we, especially this time in the life of the country, that we not forget the efforts that were made to bring us to where we are. So
So you grew up in like the DC area? Yeah. How'd you like that? It's very fast paced, I feel like, compared to here.
Well, back then it was not, I'm a senior.
Okay.
You're a college student. It's a little bit different. So but not so much. Now today it's a churning bowl when you try to drive through. But it wasn't like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So. A lot of archaeological finds when they put in the big interstates. The world did exist before interstates, so the big interstates, right? They revealed a lot of archaeological, finds from the colonial times, and of course Native American history. So,
what's your favorite area of history? So you're an art history student, and they're so very different.
Yeah, I would say early American history.
Okay,
is the most interesting.
Yeah, I feel like. I mean, honestly, I love anything history, but I feel like my favorite would probably be the Gilded Age time period up until I think after World War II, entering the Cold War period. I think those.
We
yeah.
went through that whole thing from robber barons,
Yeah,
the Gilded
yeah.
Age,
Mhm.
through a depression,
Mhm.
through a war,
Mhm.
back to the other side. So,
yeah, it's very
a
like
pretty-
ebb and flow. Yeah,
A lot happened.
Mhm.
It was for sure.
Yeah, I just went and visited the Breakers for the first time, and I
Oh,
was blown away by
Yeah.
how like like the fact that was their cottage and they only live there for like a few weeks out of the summer.
Right.
It's just crazy. So
Right.
but yeah, it's just fascinating.
Have you ever been to Vanderbilt in Asheville, North Carolina?
I
you heard
have
of it?
not. No.
Okay, it's the Biltmore, the Vanderbilt
Okay.
Mansion. Okay,
Okay.
so it was built in the 1890s, and when you think about it, that's just when all the Native Americans in the Southeast were
Yeah.
being forced west.
Mhm.
So we just, our history is just all wrapped into
Yeah.
this constant push forward.
Yeah.
Fair or not, So yeah.
Very interesting.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we've been left.
I guess so.
I guess we have.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think
Oh, yeah.
I think we've covered what we can. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
My name's Rosa Vega, and I love this community. I love the passion everybody has for it. I love the history and the records. I love how weird this community is. I've lived all over this country, including Austin, Texas, and frankly, it doesn't hold a candle to how weird it is here. I was once walking the bike path, and there was a shirtless man playing the saxophone. It was amazing. I have never heard. It was so talented. Empty field, absolutely empty. And just the passion the people have for this area and the compassion for their neighbors. I love it, and I think it's a long history of caring for one another. Do you like anything about this area or your school?
I love my school because everyone's so nice in it, and the teacher is so supportive. And I go to a JFK Elementary in Winooski, and what I love about my home and community is I love how easy it is to get around, and I love how much nature there is, and I love how you can actually find a nice swat of grass, in fact, everywhere you look. And I love my community because like everyone's just so nice here. They're all so nice. And
yeah.
My school, and something like about my school I also love is that they want everyone to be included. In fact, there's a rule. It's either no one plays with you, or you have to let everyone play with you.
All right, thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Do you have questions?
There's some on the table if you want to repeat this.
Let's see. What do we need to remember from our history?
What we need to remember from, I don't know. How about what's important for the future and to remember?
What's important for the people of the future to remember? I think one of the important things is to remember that history is written often by the victors, but there's also ways that we can find records of more balanced recounts, and if you look for things, often you can find clues in places that might not be the most expected,
Same here.
Thank you.
And you'll have to run with it because some of the questions are, what do you think the world is going to look like in 250 years?
Ooh.
So then how do you answer that in period? Go ahead, introduce yourselves and then ask away.
We good?
Yeah.
Oh, private?
Sergeant, how are you today, sir?
Not bad, not bad. I'm here to ask you a few questions, see if you can answer them.
Am I in trouble again, sir?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not since you
thank
quit drinking.
Thank you.
And
Sir, it was only one night.
The company
I'm sorry.
appreciates that. Now, I want to ask you, what can America celebrate from our past history?
From our past history, what do we celebrate? My family, coming from Vermont, we need to celebrate Vermont as a state, because before this we were a republic, and we were very isolated. I mean, we actually thought about joining Canada. Since then, we've joined Vermont, or we've joined the U.S. government, and it's made us a stronger people. Our trade is better. We're able to trade with other states, and the economy has grown. So I would celebrate becoming a state in the United States.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, what do you want people of the future to know about us?
Well, I think I would like them to know that I care enough about where I live and the people I live with to put myself out there and to try to protect our way of life, protect our language, protect our government. I am very, very much a person who thinks that we all should work hard and earn our keep and not live off from someone else. So I am very appreciative of that, and I want my and my children and their children to work hard and to make a life that we can all be proud of.
What do you plan on doing after the war?
I'm going back to farming. I have a few sheep. I have some Ayrshire cows and some few Holsteins. We raise some vegetables and sell them at the farmers market in town. My wife does a lot of woolen knitting things. Ladies like to do that kind of thing.
Yes,
it takes up the time at night. She sits there and does that, and I sometimes take a nap. But sir.
I think the lieutenant would like us back at the company.
That sounds good, sir.
So we should probably get going.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I'm glad I'm not in trouble.
You're not
I've
in
been
trouble
there before.
anymore, and stay sober.
Oh, dear sir, that's hard.
All right.
Thank you. You're welcome.